Okay, so I'm just recording this just in case anybody's wondering. Just to let you all know that we're recording it. So everybody, you're welcome to Past, Present, Future. We used to do this a lot in school, and now with the convenience of Teams and online, we're able to do this, and I'm able to get people from as far as Budapest and County Cork as well to talk to you about where they've gone to college and about all the different things that they've done with their lives. So we're really, really lucky, and I'm so proud of my past pupils, particularly the people in front of me right now, and very grateful for you giving us your time, especially some of you are in the middle of exams this week as well. So what I'm hoping for you all to get from this night, if you're in third year or TY, I'm hoping that maybe you might get some advice in relation to what subjects to pick. I'm hoping that the rest of you will look at maybe what you might do in college, or or even looking at how they went about getting into their career. That there are other pathways and ways to get. So I'm just going to start off with Catherine is going to start off talking there. Catherine Quinn, and she is at the minute in Budapest, speaking to you from Budapest, and she is studying veterinary medicine there. So she's going to talk to you a little bit about that now. Okay, Catherine, over to you.
Hi, everyone. So basically, I can't remember what year I finished in the community school, but my career route was kind of slightly different because I'm in Budapest now doing veterinary, but I actually started by doing forensic science in Sligo IT. So I originally always wanted to be a vet, but I didn't end up getting the points for Dublin because they were so high, and I didn't really know Budapest was an option. So I went and I did a forensic science degree in Sligo, and that was a 4-year degree. And then that was very chemistry based. So just to say, if people were interested in doing that sort of a degree, it is very good, and it was very chemistry based. So for the Leaving Cert, you would need to be doing definitely chemistry and biology 100%. Then after that, I took 2 years out and I travelled a little bit. I went to Australia, and then I still had that urge to go back and do veterinary. So I decided to just see if I could apply to get into Budapest, and luckily I got accepted. So I'm in my 2nd year of veterinary over here now in Budapest. And yeah, I love it, to be honest. I'm so glad I did it. It was the best decision I ever made. It is difficult, but if you want to be a vet, then you'll happily put up with all the long hours of study. There's a huge Irish community here. I know you wouldn't think it, but there is. There's a rugby team, there's a GAA team, it's quite expensive if you are doing it as your 2nd degree because you don't get the grant. But if you're doing it as your 1st degree, I'm pretty sure the SUSI grant applies, even though it's international. It's an international college. I still think it applies. What else? Just to see. I know when I was in transition year, I did work experience in a vet, which stood to me. And then when I was in college in my 1st degree, I also did work experience. So I would say if you are considering doing veterinary, to definitely get work experience, get as much work experience as you can, either in a small clinic or in a big clinic. I did it in Glenmaddy and Declan Gordon's in transition year. And then I went to an animal hospital in Dublin when I was in college doing it as experience. And yeah, that's kind of it, I think. I don't really know is there other stuff I should add, Miss?
Just a little bit about your career path, where you started off.
So I did start off doing the forensic science. I started off doing the forensic science, but I didn't actually work in the degree. So I can't really speak from experience of working with that degree, only just the college experience. And college is very good. There's lots of assignments and there's lots to do, but it's fun and it's good. Whether over here this degree is harder, I would say definitely. It's definitely a tough degree. So if you do decide to go into either veterinary in Ireland or veterinary in Budapest, you have to put your head down and you have to study and you have to be willing to sacrifice a lot for it. But if you want it enough, you will do it. Yeah, and then hopefully now I'll finish graduation. I think 3 years left, so it's a long course as well. It's 5 years, and then after that graduation, come back to Ireland and work in Ireland. That's the plan.
plan. And you did 4 years of forensic science first, and then
Yeah.
you went and decided to do this. But from what I remember, you always wanted to be a vet anyway. From what I remember, it was always in the back of your mind, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone has any questions, I'm not going to ask you to come on live, but you can go on the chat. There's a little thing there for chats, for questions, if you have any questions for any of them. You can equally email the questions, and Catherine will answer the emailed questions back to you if you want to.
I will say, actually, sorry, I just remembered that I had said to you earlier, if students weren't sure if they wanted to do veterinary but were interested in animals, or were considering doing another degree before doing veterinary, let's say in Budapest or somewhere, animal science in UCD, I know girls who are here who did that degree, and they said that was a great stepping stone. And also veterinary nursing does help as well, definitely, to have a good background if you were to do another degree before doing this degree.
Okay, very good. And you spoke about the GAA scene and the social scene and all of that, which is very important to a lot of them. So there are so many Irish here.
And all the Irish group together, so it's great. And there's Irish pubs, and it's like St. Patrick's Day is celebrated over here. It's great.
Good. And are you in lockdown now at the minute? We are.
We are. We've a 8 p.m. curfew.
Okay.
So yeah, also we're learning online at the moment as well. We do face-to-face dissections, but otherwise all the lectures are online.
Okay, there's a question here, Catherine. Do you think a farming background is necessary for doing veterinary?
Oh no, absolutely not. I'm not from a farming background at all. And with this degree, you don't have to specialize at any point. You're learning about all of it throughout. So I'm learning about farming, and I'm learning about equine as well as you go. And I don't have to make that decision in which direction I want to go until I finish. So no, definitely not. I do think, though, doing agricultural science would definitely benefit you, because when I was in my Leaving Cert year, I did chemistry, biology and agricultural science, and it definitely will help you if you're interested in that.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Now Catherine is going ahead, and she's going to go back and start studying for exams she's in the middle of at the minute. So if anybody else has any other questions, just through the chats. If not, we'll let Catherine go back to her studies.
Perfect.
She will be back to us again, Catherine, you will, and in class and things like that. So, but thank you so much. I really appreciate
No problem at all. And if anyone does have questions, send them on to you and I'll answer them. No problem at all.
Perfect. And I'll send them on. Brilliant.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you very much,
Catherine. Bye.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Next up, is Mary Morris. And Mary Morris is a nurse in the Bon Secours in Cork. Is it Cork City, Mary, isn't it? Yeah,
right beside UCC.
And when did you do your Leaving Cert, Mary, just so they know?
Around 2007, in or around.
Was it 2007?
Okay. So went straight into nursing then in September into Galway, and
general nursing, Mary.
Nursing, and got an assignment the first day I went in. It was, there was no, soft soap in it. It was bang, 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 straight into it. And in Galway, it was kind of continuous assessment. So we had assignments all year round, even when we were doing placement. That was quite difficult because you'd be working 12, 13-hour shifts and you're expected to get your assignments in. So you had exams at Christmas, you had exams during the summer. Not every college did that, so I would recommend, if someone is a bit of a crammer or someone, likes to do it bit by bit, find out from the colleges, do they do continuous assessment or not, because not all of them do. So we went out to placement quite early as well. It was very good, very beneficial. You were out within about a month and a half. I had never worked in a nursing home. I'd never, there was the pre-nursing course as well. If anyone is, if you're anyway on the fence, you could always do that for a year, where you do all the practical subjects and you go out, I think, to a hospital maybe one day a week or something like that. But that's also helpful. But it's kind of, it's a very practical course, and nursing is very practical. You deal with everything from people being like babies being born to people dying and everything in between. It's quite a difficult job, but it's very rewarding.
Sorry, Mary, one thing.
Yeah.
Colin, will you mute your video? Or mute your sound, we can hear you. Thank you. Sorry, Mary, go on.
You're all right. You make great friends. Like nursing, like the friends you make during nursing, they're really are friends for life. I know people say, oh, friends for life, but they really are, because no one understands all you go through until you kind of are a nurse, I suppose. With the college into things, half of it's a bit wishy-washy, apart from more practical subjects like this sociology and psychology and things like that really they're not relevant at all. Like, you're sitting there for 3 hours in a lecture going on about, I don't know what they'd be going on about half the time, but like there's maybe 150 students in that class, and then you're broken down then into smaller groups where you learn the more practical things. They've all these labs, and you do all kind of stuff, taking blood pressures and bits and pieces now like that. So like the lectures are pretty helpful as well. You kind of are assigned a lecture, if you needed a hand with assignments or different bits and pieces, you can email them or whatever. But it's a tough course. It is a tough course. It's 4 long years, but you'll get through it, and there's always someone there willing to help, that kind of a way. But the job itself, it's, especially now with COVID, it's quite challenging, all the PPE, the risk that goes in with going into a hospital, all of that kind of thing. But look, it's part of normal life now for us. I think we'll be wearing masks and PPE for years, just if everyone gets vaccinated, it probably won't be the end for anyone working in a hospital. I work on a surgical ward, so looking after people before and after surgery, or if people come in kind of unwell with appendicitis or kind of something acutely, or that wasn't planned for. The days are long, of course. They're 12-13 hours. You don't really get out on time, but like for me, I work shift work. I work nights, weekends, bank holidays, Christmases, all the big kind of Halloween, blah blah blah, all that kind of thing. But that's something to be taken into account for as well. But like, it's not the end of the world. You get used to it. At least with a 9-to-5 job, you're kind of stuck. You're in there every day. At least with nursing, if you are any shift work, if you work a few extra hours, you can you get a few days off during the week, which is nice. And even with holidays and stuff, if you plan it right, you do get good time off, but you work hard when you're there.
Okay.
Also a great job to travel with. You can go anywhere in the world. Irish nurses are respected anywhere you go. They know that we're hard working and we're there to, work, which everyone seems to love. I was in England for a few years as well, and great experience there. Like, people that say, oh, they want to go to Australia. Like, Australia's a long way away. If you just wanted to go and travel or just get a change of scene, England isn't a bad option either. Nursing in England is 3 years as opposed to 4. Now, they don't get as much holidays, but it's another option as well for people if they don't think they might get the points in Ireland. And
Mary, when you started off, it was home economics teaching, I think you wanted to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So how did you end up in nursing?
Oh God, how did I end up in nursing? I think you might have had something to do with that.
Oh, did I? Oh God.
Yeah.
I hope it's positive.
I think so. Now there's a lot of nurses in my family, but that wouldn't have made me choose it. But
I could see the caring side coming out.
That's it, sure. That's it. Yeah.
That's what it was.
I didn't do biology either. People would say,
it's good.
You need to do biology. I didn't do it. I was told that chemistry was a better course by someone. So I said I might chance that one. So you don't need to have biology or whatever.
But do you think it would be a positive though? It would be a positive probably to have biology. Or is it okay with that?
Sure, of course it would. But I was at no disadvantage by not doing it.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I
That's
wasn't at any disadvantage. They do cover chemistry in the course and pharmacology and things like that. So I suppose that the chemistry did help me then a little bit in them, you know, parts of the course or whatever. But for anyone that's considering nursing, you know, if you're anyway on the fence, I don't know would I rush into it. You know, it is a tough job, and like there's other, as I said, mention the pre-nursing course, maybe working in a nursing home during the summer, something like that, just to get a feel for it, because you know it is a tough job. It's very rewarding, but there are hard days, you know, and it mightn't be any harm maybe like if you even did the pre-nursing course for a year just to see what you thought of it before I'd go rushing into it. But you kind of have to be on, like a nurse, they're sort of a jack of all trades in the hospital. Like you could be trying to fix a bed 1 minute, there could be ordering equipment another minute, you know, sorting out doctors another day. You know, you work with every single person in the hospital, and you have to be kind of a practical person, I think. And it's great if you're book smart and all of that. Like, you know, even I would have seen people in my course, they would have been very intelligent, but when you actually get them out onto the ward, then they struggled. They weren't able, you know, to be practically minded. So, you know, that's just another thing I've noticed. And even mentoring students and stuff like that, sure, they know everything, but just, you know, if you're not a studier, that's not, you know, you will get there. Even if you find the study tough, you will get there, and you'll be well able for it when you get out onto the wards and stuff like that.
Okay, very good. Anybody have any questions for Mary? Anything else you want to add there, Mary? I think you've covered nearly everything that we were talking about earlier.
Not really.
Do you love your job, Mary?
I love it some days, and other days I don't, because it is tough, and you're dealing with a lot of different personalities. Like you could have someone that's, you know, obviously going into hospital is a very stressful thing for anyone, and people, you know, people don't know how to cope. And it's only when you come into hospital, they might, you know, their family might see a different side to them or things like that. So you have to be, and not to take things too personal either, because nurses get a lot of the brunt of things from doctors, from family members, from patients, you know, they do. And but you kind of develop your own way of coping fairly lively, you know. But it is a good job. It's a great job. It is a great job.
Someone asked a good question here, Mary. What is an aspect of the job that you didn't expect? That's a very good question.
That's a very good question. Everyone knows all the paperwork. That's a given. I suppose, not that I didn't expect. What would you say to that now? I suppose all the other things you're expected to do, like there's a lot of things that nurses shouldn't do. Chasing people, you ask someone to do something and they don't do it, and you're constantly chasing people to get things done. You know, when in your normal life you might say, oh, you might ask someone to do something and they'll do it, but you know, it takes a long time to get things, you know. And if you're like someone that wants things done there and then, and it's not, you might get a little bit frustrated. For me anyway, that's one thing that annoys me. Like when I want something done, like things charted by doctors, or, you know, scans ordered, and it's just not done, and you're like, come on, because it's delaying your work, you know.
Okay.
So just maybe you have to be persistent and maybe assertive. Like the way some people would speak to nurses wouldn't be very pleasant. So like, you know, people would take out their grievances out on nurses, and sometimes you wouldn't expect it, I suppose. But again, that's just the way people deal with stress
With
when they
stress,
come into
yeah.
you know, so you wouldn't want to be taking things too personal. And leave,
Okay.
and the other thing is to leave things at home or leave things at work, not to be
Mm.
bringing home, you know, not to be bringing home if you've had a bad
Negativity.
day, you know.
Mm.
Yeah. Now some you know, if things are very sad or someone gets a bad diagnosis, that can be very hard, especially young people, you know, that can be
Mm.
hard, but you just kind of have to learn to leave it at work.
Okay, that's very good, Mary. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If again, Mary, if anyone has any questions, is it okay? I'll email them on to you and
Yeah.
we'll get answers to
No
them and
problem.
everything.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Super. So we let you off the hook. So Mary, thanks so much.
Okay.
Good
No
to see
bother.
you. Talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks, Mary. Okay, next up is Colm Keane. Are you there? Can you hear us? Yes.
Yeah.
And Colm is a regular for visiting the school and talking about medicine. And he's an anaesthetist, I can't even say it, and he is going to talk to you a little bit about medicine. Are you going to do a presentation, Colm, or are you going to talk, or what?
Yeah, I've sorted everything out. Everybody's calm.
Excellent.
We're all good.
You go.
Wait, well, just make sure now that you can.
Yes, we can see it. Go for it.
Mighty. Is it up there now?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Grand. So Colm Keane is my name. So I just have a few slides here on medicine and anesthesia, or anesthesiology is their new name. I used to do a longer presentation in the school, but this is very brief, and I'm happy to do any questions afterwards. So I've just started as a consultant in cardiothoracics in St. James's. So I'll just talk about medicine and how I got there and how I got to where I am, just to give you a flavour how the journey goes. So medicine is either a 5 or 6 year course, and the first 3 years are science and preclinical before you go onto the wards, and then from year 4 to 6 you increase your clinical exposure. So year 1 to 3 full of science subjects. So obviously you can technically get into medicine by only having ag science, but obviously physics, chemistry, biology, all good to have. Chemistry, obviously the best one to have, because it's the most important subject in the world. Chemistry or biology, really, you don't really need physics if you're good into it, and obviously ag science doesn't really add anything to it. So physics or biology or chemistry are the important ones. So as I said, the clinical activities increase then every year as you're going through it, and you can do various different things through it that are interesting, special study modules, all sorts of stuff. I did one on high altitude medicine, which was very nice. And you can go away as well. So I went to Dallas in Texas to do vascular surgery before my last year, and then I went to Tanzania to do some volunteer work. So there are lots of things you can do during it. So either 5 or 6 years, you can go into a 5-year course if you have 2 or 3 science subjects, but the 6-year course is what I would recommend. And then after medicine, I went into anesthesia, and that basically is three disciplines: anesthesiology, which is looking after people during their operation; critical care, which is looking after people in the intensive care unit, where you look after every organ intensively; and then we also cover pain medicine, which I'm not interested in. And then you can do other things while you're on the way to finishing off whatever you're doing. And I decided to do an MD, which is Doctor of Medicine. And I did that looking at stem cells in sepsis. So as you know, sepsis is infection. Systemic sepsis is overwhelming infection. We were looking at whether stem cells gave any advantage using these little fellas. So I used rats, and I gave them, first of all, I gave them sepsis, and then I gave them stem cells to see what happened. And we published a nice review article on it first, and then after using the rats, we concluded that the stem cells do improve the sepsis, and it is paving the way for the future of sepsis. So what we would hope is that when you go into the emergency department, you'll have your genome or all of your DNA already typed, or we'll know who you are. And that'll allow us to give you a very individual treatment. We'll be monitor you. If you know this fella, he's Alexander Fleming. He invented penicillin, so we'll give you the right antibiotics. We'll be able to give you the right stem cells, and we'll be able to decrease your likelihood of dying from sepsis. So that was a very interesting project. It's something you can do any way along your course. You can do it. You can do something like that when you're in medicine. You can do it after medicine, but it's just a flavour of what you can do, and something that I did. So I finished my Leaving Cert in 2005, and then I went on to do medicine. I did the 6-year course up until 2011. Then for the next year, I did my internship, which every doctor does. They do 1 year. You do usually 6 months medicine, 6 months surgery. And I did that. I did renal medicine first, then I did anesthesia, I did orthopedic surgery and breast surgery during that year. And then after that, you decide what you want to do. Do you want to be a GP? Do you want to be a surgeon? Do you want to be a physician? Whatever you want to do. So then I started my training scheme for anesthesia, which took 7 years. Now it took 7 years because I obviously did the stem cell study during it, which took 2 years. So all in all, doing both of those, it took me 7 years, and I finished in 2019. And after that, then I subspecialized in cardiothoracic, so heart and lung anesthesia. And then this year, in July, I started work as a consultant in anesthesia. So just to give you a flavour of what you can do, and there was 2 people up with me during the summer, one of whom is currently in medicine, and they came in for a day to see what happens in St. James's. So St. James's is a very busy hospital, but this would be a normal day there. So this, for everybody that's in science, is your aorta coming out of your heart. But we had a 75-year-old lady who had a damaged aorta. It was all dilated, and we needed to fix it. So we did this operation where we took all of the vessels off, put a new aorta in, and then joined them all back up again. And we had to cool her down because the blood flow to her brain was reduced during it. So we cooled her down to 25 degrees and then warmed her back up at the end of it. This is a picture from during it. And our job is to make sure that she stays stable, that she stays alive, and when she comes off the heart-lung machine, that her heart can function again. So you can see a lot of infusions there, a little bit of blood on the floor, but that was a relatively normal day in the cardiac theatre in James's. So this is another thing. You see a video going here. This is a 3D ultrasound of one of the valves of your heart, which we would do. And you can see there the blood coming, the color coming back is because the valve is leaking. So another thing that we would often do is replace valves like this. And you can see here another picture of a valve. It's the same valve, the mitral valve. And you can see that it looks fairly dirty, and that's because it's covered in infection. So the same day that we did the operation on that lady, they asked me in the intensive care unit to do an ultrasound of a man's heart to see whether he had infection in it, and this is what he had. He had infection on his mitral valve. So this, you might know this fella on the left here, Cathal Moran. He came up to me for a day during the summer, spent a day in cardiac theatre. I think we did 2 different patients, one valve replacement, one bypass operation. And he had a good look around, and he is now in First Med in Galway, starting off the journey as well. So what do you need to do? Well, whatever you need to do, you need to continue to do it. So this quote here is very true. We are what we repeatedly do. So excellence is not an act, but a habit. So if you want to do, doesn't matter what you want to do after tonight, whatever you want to do, you have to continue to practice it. So first of all, you need a good Leaving Cert. So you're not going to do a good Leaving Cert if you don't practice every day. So excellence in your Leaving Cert is not going to be an act. It's going to be a habit because you're used to doing what you're doing. So now we're in the COVID era. This lady in the top right is Margaret Keenan. She was the first lady to ever receive the COVID vaccine originally from Anna. The lady in the bottom is the first lady on the island of Ireland to receive it, a nurse in Northern Ireland, Joanna Sloan. That's the vaccine down the corner, and a little bit on anti-vaxxers there up in the corner to get a dig in at them. But anyways, that's my journey. That's where I am now. I will turn this off. How do I turn this
Brilliant.
off? Stop doing that.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions for Colm, you can do the same again. Any questions for him? Colm, did you always want to be a doctor?
Well, I originally wanted to be a vet, but in the background, I wanted to be a doctor. One of my issues with veterinary was the financial aspect of it, that everything has a price. But then you do medicine and you go into pharmaco health economics and you realize that everything in medicine has a price too. So I don't know, my logic was a bit flawed there, but you know, it costs to fix people. But okay, so I wanted to do veterinary, but in the back of my mind, I wanted to do medicine. I probably didn't tell anybody in case I didn't get the points. Not really sure.
Okay. And can you give them any? You told us about the subjects already. So do you like your job? My next question.
Yeah. So the thing about medicine is there's so many different areas that you can change path or you can diversify if you want to. I like physiology. I like how things work, and I like the structure of things. So with anesthesia, we're changing people's physiology all the time acutely. So I would have no interest in being a cardiologist or something where you see somebody every 6 months or every year. So with what we do, the drugs that we give work within 5 or 10 seconds, and they wear off within that period as well. So that's what I like. Sometimes it's high intensity and you can get burnt out from that, but yeah, I like what I do because of that, because you can you aim to control as much of what's going on as you can. So I like that aspect of it, and it's a very much a team sport. So usually on a normal day in theatre, there would be 15 or 20 people working in that theatre itself. So it's enjoyable from that point of view. It's social, and yeah, I definitely enjoy it. I'm happy that I did it.
Okay, really good. Anybody have any questions? I think there's a question here. 1 second, I'm gonna just check. Hi, Colm. After completing your 6-year medicine degree, how many years would it be to become an anesthesiologist without the extra project?
It would still have taken me 7 years. So everybody that does medicine has to do an internship afterwards, if you want to work in Ireland, and then the anesthesiology training scheme is 6 years. The shortest ones that you can do would be GP, which is 4 years, and I think radiology is 4 years as well. And then anesthesiology is 6 years, and surgery is 8 to 10 years. So everything depends on what you want to do and how long it's going to take.
Okay. Thank you so much. Anybody have any other questions before I let Colm go? And again, if you have questions, you can email them to me and I'll pass them on to Colm, and I'm sure he'll answer them. And we might move on, so we're flying. Colm, thanks very, very much for that. And thank you. And hi, Tig, as well. We'll see you later. Bye. Hi. Oh, yes. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Bye.
Yes, it's lovely. See you later. Okay. So we'll move on to Colm's nephew, Cian. You're next up. And Cian is a primary school teacher, and he's going to talk a little bit about his job and what subjects would be good for it and all that kind of stuff. Okay, away you go, Cian.
Hello all, how are things? You can hear me? Can you?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I don't want to be that person that takes off for 10 minutes on mute. As Hardiman said, I'm a primary school teacher and I'm teaching in Dublin for the last 3 years. I've qualified this is my 3rd year teaching. I think I left Glan, we did our Leaving Cert. I did it with Eve, I think, or no, Eve is the year behind me. 2014 I finished, I think. And I went straight then to Pat's in Drumcondra, and I did the 4-year undergrad course there. And I was just trying to think today, there's 4 colleges I think that do the straightforward direct route to primary teaching. So you have Mary I in Limerick, Frebel, which is in Maynooth, and Marino. And now there was a Church of Ireland college, but they're all amalgamated in Dublin with Mater Dei as well in what is now the new DCU. But if you were like me, you were Pat's, and it's contentious enough. So we went through, I had 4 years of that. So I suppose just why I chose primary teaching. I enjoyed school. I enjoyed primary school and secondary school, and I think that's important if you're going to work in it for the rest of your life. I liked working with people, and I'm glad that I am now, because I realise in the job how many people you interact with every day, which is great fun at the minute too when you're trying to trace your context. But you have a lot of people, be it the 30 kids in the class, and then all the teachers that you interact with, the parents, the other support services. So liking being able to work with people is important too. It's broad nature, so it's very broad. Every day is different. You have 12 subject areas to cover in class, but it also has the options for specialism. So in college, and this is only new since we went to a 4-year degree, you are allowed to take a specialism in your 4-year undergrad. So I took PE. So I had a lot of PE in my undergrad, and I qualified then with a major specialism in it, which allows you then to go on into kind of that area of work if you're into that, with specialisms and lots of things. So if you're musical or artistic, or maybe you might have an option, or you might have an interest in early childhood, maybe younger children, or maybe special education, you can specialize in any of them things, and you will then become what they're hoping to create is subject leaders in primary schools. So the hope is that that's what I will do in the next couple of years. I'm actually gone back doing a master's in it now, so there are opportunities there if you want to specialize in something. It's not just the broad kind of course that it was once. It's structured. Your life is structured in primary teaching, which is good. You don't work shift work, obviously, and things like that, so that's a plus. It's a very rewarding job. Children are nice to work with most of the time, and it's great to see kind of their progressions from September to June. It's great. And then I just subjects to take for Leaving Cert. This one, it's not as important as other professions. I don't think Gaeilge is the big one. You need to take that at honours level. As far as I don't know, the grades changed or not, but it was a C3 when I was in Leaving Cert.
H4 now, yeah.
Yeah.
H4 it's called, yeah.
So you need to do that. Now, if you don't do that, I think you can work around it by going to England or Wales, but the most straightforward route is to try and go for Honours Irish in Leaving Cert. I would encourage that. Other than that, just a broad range of subjects, and not to make this too hard for yourself, because I think that's what I did when I was trying to get in. I took all honours subjects, and that can be a little bit silly sometimes. If you can get in with 6 as opposed to taking 7 honours, I would have, if I could go back now, I would have dropped one of them. Just trying to see what I have here. Oh yeah, maths and English are obviously very, very important as well. They're your core subjects in school. So then college, as I said, there's 4 of them. I went to Pat's for the 4 years, which was brilliant. You have a great mix in college of kind of rural and urban people. It's even better now because you're in a university. So when I went, it was just a college, so it kind of felt a little bit like a secondary school, but now it's part of this big university. So you have all the opportunities of a big university like DCU. I mean, drama, all of them things are huge in it. GA, you play with DCU, so there's loads of opportunities there, and the facilities are unbelievable. Pat's campus is a brand new campus, so it's one, if you're thinking about it, I would encourage you to go to Pat's. It's really broad, the lectures over the 4 years. I mean, you could be doing assignments in Gaeilge, philosophy, psychology, and a little bit like Mary earlier. Some of them are a bit wishy-washy, and it's full on. You have a lot of hours. So your weeks they are full up. I used to be laughing at others, the kind of students who would be maybe 10 or 15 hours, and you're like, your week is full if you're doing primary teaching. But it's enjoyable too. You've lots of school placement in your college course, so you do get a chance to go out into schools and to practice early on, which I think is a big benefit, because that'll tell you straight away in first year whether that's for you or not. Because the minute you're standing in front of a group of kids and they're all looking at you, it's your move, you'll know quite quickly whether it's a course you want to continue doing, or it's a job you'll enjoy. Just trying to see, I scribbled notes here today so I can think of everything. And as I said, yeah, the specialism is great because you get to do loads of work. So because I took PE, I did loads of work in that, and it's brilliant. You get to study that in depth. You get to work with lots of organisations. I worked with Irish Wheelchair and all of these people, Special Olympics Ireland. So there's a great opportunity there. The same if you've a passion for literacy or numeracy or any of these things, you can specialise in them. Just advice, I suppose, get into school and observe. It is different when you go back as an adult, so don't just rely on your memories of primary school from when you were there as a student. It is a very different job on the other side. Even if you're to help out as a coach in a GA team or maybe youth drama or something, it's important to work with small children or children up to 12, because it's not easy to manage 30 of them in one go. So just if you can get any exposure to working with them, I would encourage you to do that. There are loads of opportunities in the career as well. It's not just, as I said, it's not just, we'll say, your mainstream class teacher. You can work in special ed. There are people who then go on and work in the PDST and different support services like that. So there are lots of opportunities for that. Let me see, and like that too, everything's changed. So for the first 2 years in the school I was in, I taught 3rd and 4th class, and now I'm down with the infants, with junior and senior infants, and those two jobs are completely different. So that's good too. There's lots of variety. Like Mary said, it's a great one to travel with. I have friends teaching in Australia. Some of them are teaching in Vietnam. You can go anywhere. Lots of people are teaching in the Middle East. It's really easy to travel with, and Irish teachers are well thought of across the world. So it's definitely one if you want to think about that. Also 2 months off in the summer to travel. And let me just think. Yeah, options for work as well. I was kind of thinking you do have an option of work, and if you've always lived at home and you think, oh, I'd love to live in a city, but maybe I mightn't get work in a city in another job. There are schools everywhere, so you'll get work in cities, or if you're a home bird after college and you want to move back home, then there are opportunities there to go back to. It is a little bit harder to get work in rural schools, but once you get your name in, you'll get going. The only thing is it's mainly female, so I would encourage as many lads as possible to get into it. We were outnumbered for most of our time in PATS, which has its advantages and disadvantages.
Yes, Cian.
The only other thing then, I suppose, I don't know if I have anything else, if I've missed anything, or if you have any questions.
I think you very good, very informative. Thanks. And well, as I've asked all the others, I might as well ask you, do you love or do you like your job?
Yeah, no, I do. It is. No, it's really rewarding. Particularly this year, and I didn't think I'd enjoy going to the infants, but when you see them from September to even where they are now, it's very rewarding. But it's challenging as well. There's lots of challenges with it, but it's an enjoyable job. I certainly wouldn't be able to do secondary school teaching or college. I think it's much easier to work with small kids.
Each to their own now, I think. Anyone have any questions for Cian? I think you covered nearly everything though, Cian, there. If anybody has any questions, the same thing, you can email them to me and I'll pass them on to Cian, or if you want to go into the chat, anything in the chats there. Okay, so thank you, Cian. That was super. Thanks very much. And I'm going to move on to Eve Cassidy. And Eve is a civil engineer. So she's going to tell us all about her journey to becoming a civil engineer. Off you go there, Eve. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. I did civil engineering in the University of Limerick, and I decided to go there. I went to an open day and I thought it was just so cool because like the campus there is totally different to Galway or Dublin or anything like that. So I said that I'd kind of take that chance, and it wasn't like the course with the highest points or anything. So then at that time, you could only go into like you could go into a normal course, but there was also the undenominated one, which is called Engineer's Choice, which was the course I chose, and that I just wasn't sure of what I wanted to do. So this went through mechanical, aeronautical, electrical, electronic, biomedical and civil. So we went and we did labs in all of those courses, and it kind of gave you a better idea of what they would entail. Now, like it was quite hard, and like there was a lot of hours in that, especially because you were trying to compensate for 6 different courses or so, instead of like focusing on your one course. So that was quite difficult. But I always kind of like was interested in like structures and architecture and stuff. So I kind of always had civil in the back of my head, but I kind of at the same time was like, look, I want to try all of them out and see what's at the best. So anyway, I decided to do civil. Oh yeah, I'll go back as well. There was like 200 or 250 people in the engineering choice course, along with another 200 people who had picked the mechanicals, the aeronauticals. So like our lectures were huge with like 400 people. You were only a number, you know, to your lecturers and stuff. So then the course that I went into, which was civil, was like 30 people in my course. So there was 3 girls and 27 boys. And when we started off, so that was kind of difficult. But in first year, we got to design and build a bridge to cross one of the ponds in college, and one of our lecturer, or the head of our department, I think, had to walk across it. And like we didn't get to really test it out beforehand. We got to test it on land, but we put it out in the water anyway, and he walked across it. And that was super. There's videos of those also of every year on YouTube, which are quite interesting. So I kind of decided after first year I was happy enough with what I chose. And then the following 3 years we got to like design multi-story buildings, like roofs, water treatment plants and stuff like that. And the good thing about it was we got to design them for actual physical structures that were going to be built in Limerick or in the surrounding area. So it wasn't like a make-believe building, like we were actually working to something that was going to be built also. And we were involved in like designing the roof of the new diving pool that was built in the college there 2 or 3 years ago. So during college as well, because I was a girl and the girls in engineering are very few, it was a huge incentive for us to keep up college and kind of keep everyone interested. So there was a lot of scholarships going for the girls. So like for example, for first year, this company called Arup, which are a huge company worldwide, said that they were going to give a scholarship to 2 of the girls in civil, and the other girl in civil actually had dropped out. So myself and the other girl got €5,000 between us. We made up a presentation and that was it. Like it wasn't a huge deal. They were happy for us to be in the course, I think. And then after that, in second or third year, there was also an incentive by Johnson & Johnson for this group project outside of college for girls to promote women in engineering. And we did presentations and posters, and we got to go to International Women's Day in Dell in Limerick, and there was a huge presentation there for the winning team, and we all got money out of that as well. Now money isn't the only thing, but it was a great incentive to keep us going. And like it is quite hard to be working in a male dominated industry, so it was a nice little pep, and the lads used to hate it as well because like they'd be like, well, how come we don't deserve it? So then as well in third year we got to do 8 months of placement. So I did my placement with Kirby Group Engineering up in Dublin, which allowed me to, I worked on the side of designing electrical substations, which isn't really a civil job, but it's quite niche. But I got to travel to the UK to do site visits. I also was involved in the biggest wind farm in Ireland, which was built down in Cork and was just opened this year. So it's nice to be associated with something so big and stuff in Ireland. So then I finished college and I did my FYP and all that, and that's quite hard, and the studying and the hours for college are quite lengthy, but it does pay off in the end. The other people in my course, they worked on sites and in design offices, working for like buildings that were all over the world, and then some on site that would be working 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the rain and the sun. Like there's a huge range of places that we could work in. And so I got a job after college in the place that I had worked on placement. So I'm working there now over a year, and up until February I was still traveling over and back to England every week. visiting sites and stuff, but now it's kind of kept more close to home. I work from home now, which was very hard to get used to at the beginning because like I lived in Dublin and it's a different lifestyle, but I'll get back out there at some point whenever this all clears up. Currently I work in a team. It's a lot of back and over, talking to electrical engineers and designers and people on site. I'm on the phone half the day. It's really busy, and it can be a lot of pressure sometimes. It's not an easy job. Sometimes you'll be thinking about it when you wake up in the morning or when you're going to bed, but it's quite rewarding at the end when a project is finished. In terms of school and like the subjects I did a kind of a strange list of subjects. I did geography, DCG, French, chemistry, obviously, and music. And I think for engineering, the maths is obviously important. If you have a good grasp of ordinary level maths and you're willing to put in the work, then absolutely give it a go. But it is quite tough. I wish that I had done physics, but obviously at the time anyway, it wasn't available in Glan, which was I didn't really have a choice. But when in college, the people who did study physics, it really stood to them. So it's not necessity, but it is very handy. And in college, they do introductory lectures into that, so that's not so bad. Have I anything else on that? And with the maths as well, there's a learning centre, so you do loads of extra. You can go in and ask at any time of the day for a bit of help. And just in Limerick as well, like the college is amazing, the sports is amazing. Like it's like another little world, and it's nice as well because it's not in the city centre like the other colleges. So you're your own little bubble in a way, and you're not walking past shops every day and buying stuff when you can't afford them. I think that's it. If I've missed anything,
I think you've covered everything and all the questions that I had ready here for you. You've hit everything there. I think there's a question here from somebody, so just hang on. I just see here. Somebody's asking, from leaving cert higher level maths, is it a big jump to the maths and engineering? Very good question there.
There are parts of the engineering maths that you will immediately relate back to from school, and that all seemed to, I only had to do four modules of maths, but that is 2 years of it, which was a lot for me. But it is quite tough, and you do have to put in a lot of work. And if you miss a lecture in maths, it's like missing a week of school. Like, it is tough. And yeah, like it was very hard. I won't say I was a straight A student now in maths, but I got through it as well at the same time.
I have another question here, Eve. Would DCG be important if you're not great at drawing? Would this be a problem?
No, not at all. And most engineers are quite not good at drawing at all. And DCG was really helpful for me. It helps you picture things and visualize stuff a lot easier. Like, I spend a lot of my time drawing plans out on AutoCAD, and it's a really handy tool to have and to have learned in school, but it's not a necessity. It's just handy, if you get me.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Again, same thing. If they email them on to me, I'll email them on to you if that's okay.
Yeah.
Super. Thanks so much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So next we have Lauren Griffin, and Lauren is at present in Trinity College Dublin, and she's studying pharmacy. So we'll hear a little bit about that, please, Lauren. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I'm currently in Dublin, as Hardiman said, but you can study pharmacy in 3 colleges. So you can study it in University College Cork, the Royal College of Surgeons, and Trinity College Dublin. So I chose Dublin just out of convenience, really, just because it was handier with trains and all that, just to get to Dublin. Compared to Cork, it's quite, I think you have to swap onto a bus, so that I didn't even look at going to Cork, to be honest with you. But pharmacy, it is quite a tough course. There is placement in second year, so next semester I'll have 2 weeks placement, so I'll be going to Boots and Roscommon for 2 weeks just to get a feel of community pharmacy. And then in 4th year I'll have 3 months, so that can either be in industry, community pharmacy, or hospital pharmacy. And then for final year you have to do it in a community pharmacy, so I'll have 8 months in 5th year of placement. And then So why did I choose pharmacy? I really liked maths and chemistry in school, and I wanted to work with people. So I thought it was a nice mix of the three together. And like studying medicine was quite tough, so I didn't really go down that route so much. So I just went with pharmacy in the end. I was looking at veterinary medicine for a while and maths as well, but I thought veterinary would be quite tough for a girl, in my opinion. But so I kind of went the easier route instead at pharmacy. My main question when it came to pharmacy was biology. I was quite worried that I didn't have biology for Leaving Cert. I only had chemistry and ag science. So that was my main concern going to college, but it was fine. You just do a small bit more work in first year just to catch up, but it's nothing like too mad, like you'll be fine. That would be the main thing. You just need 2 science subjects, but it doesn't have to be biology that you do, but you do need chemistry for it. The course itself, at the beginning, it is quite tough. You have a lot of hours and you're kind of thrown in the deep end for the first few weeks, just kind of to see how you'll react and see if the course is what you want to do. So it just takes a while to get used to it. So if any of you do want to do pharmacy, that would be my main thing that I would tell you, that it is quite tough at the beginning. Like, I've talked to nobody in the course that thought it was easy at the beginning. Like, everyone was kind of gobsmacked at how tough it was at the beginning, but it does get easier by Christmas. It is a lot easier and everything kind of begins to link together because you kind of have to learn a foundation of everything. You start by looking at like DNA and pharmacology, how the body works, how your muscles work, the organs, all those kind of things you have to start looking at first to see how drugs work. So that would be kind of the main thing. You need a foundation, and everything kind of begins to link together slowly after that and makes it a lot easier to look at it. In terms of what we studied in first year, we kind of looked at DNA, all those kind of things. We had a lot of labs and assignments. It was kind of full on at the beginning, but we did have a few interesting things in first year. Like, we had labs where you'd make things like gels, capsules, cough bottles, suppositories, those kind of things. You kind of had to make them up and you do a little label on them, and that was quite interesting. And then we had dispensing labs as well. So you'd be presented with a prescription in the lab, and you'd have your laptop or your computer, and you'd have a little software where you could put in your prescription, how to do it, and you actually had like these things. You'd end up printing out labels like in a pharmacy, so you get these, and these would get corrected and they have to be basically perfect, or you'd get docked down for them quite harshly as well. So these kind of things you were doing all the time just to get you used to being quite perfect at doing the labels and all that kind of thing. Second year, it's been tough as well, but not as bad as first year. At the beginning, we made creams and lotions there in the labs, and we did more of those labels. And there last week, I actually had an OSCE, so someone rang me on Microsoft Teams, and I was presented with a prescription again, and I had to kind of talk through someone getting the prescription. So it was for a spray, so I kind of just explained everything to why they got the spray, to why they were being treated with it, what they had, all those kind of things, side effects, lifestyle things that they could look out for. So in pharmacy, you're treating them with the medicine, but you're helping them to cope with conditions without the medicine as well. So it's quite interesting like that. You're really knowledgeable with the drugs and the diseases and all those kind of things. And yeah, it's tough, but it is worth it. Like, it's a nice course. It's not too big either. There's about 80 in our year, and everyone is quite close because we all just kind of help each other out in order to get through it. And it is nice. Like, Dublin it's different. The main thing with Dublin I was worried about is like, you're going up there and you don't know many people. Like, not many from school end up going to Dublin. So that was the main thing. You're kind of thrown in the deep end and have to make new friends, which is good because you have your life at home and you have your life in Dublin. So you have your 2 groups of friends, and you'll always have your friends from home. So don't worry about that. It's nice to make new friends as well. And Dublin, like, it's a big change. Like, it's a big city, but it does get small. Like, you get used to working the Lewis, the bus, all those kind of things. I ended up living in Rathmines last year in Trinity Hall, so you got to know loads of people down there. So if you do end up looking at pharmacy or any course in Trinity, I would look at going to Trinity Hall if you could, because it's a great opportunity to get to know people. And I would, if you could, start looking at going to Dublin for a course. Like, it is a change. You get to know loads of new people as well, as I said. So it is quite a change. And I think that's really it.
Everything nearly. You like the course though, do you?
Yeah, I like it, but it is tough. Like, there's no way you'll get away with not putting the work in. Like, you need to do the work at the weekends as well and kind of just keep on top of everything. But once you keep on top of it, it is fine. Like, you will get through it.
Okay. And you're at home at the minute with COVID, are you? Working
Yeah, I am.
college from home?
Yeah, I have college on Wednesday, so I go up on a Wednesday morning and come home Wednesday evening, or I could stay with one of my friends or that kind of thing. But next semester as well, we only have 2 days, so I'll be in Mondays and Fridays. So it is mainly online, but you kind of have 9 to 5, 9 to 6 on your days at home as well. So it is quite busy, but it is manageable. Like, you have your labs, and it's nice to get up to Dublin and meet everyone as well again, because I know some courses don't give you the opportunity to go up during COVID, but hopefully now next semester we'll be up a good bit with the Mondays and Fridays, so it's not too bad.
In your opinion, then, what are the most important subjects? I know you have to have chemistry for it, or phys chem equally for
okay,
Trinity.
it's changed, yeah.
What else? Yeah, what other subjects would you recommend?
If you could, even biology or physics, one or the other. Like, I didn't do either, and they were both, like, we had a physics module and we had a biology module in first year, but chemistry is the main thing. Like, you need to like chemistry to like pharmacy, because there's chemistry nearly in every module you do. It's linked some way, like the drugs, all their structures, how they're made, everything is thereabouts when it comes to looking at the drugs. But I would say maths, maths as well. You need to like have an interest in maths, because there is a lot of calculations and that kind of thing. And then either one or the other. Like, I did ag science and it was fine, but it would help physics or biology, I think.
Okay. And ag was beneficial enough though, but biology.
Yeah, it was fine. Like, I was grand. All the lecture notes are there. You don't need much more than the lecture notes really to get you by. It's grand.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Anybody have any questions? There's no questions coming up here anyway. And again, same thing. We'll email you on any questions, Lauren.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for your time. Thanks a million.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, last but not least, we have Killian Madden, who is going to talk about his course, and he's doing business and law in UCD. Hi,
How
Killian.
things? Thanks very much, Miss.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm in final year now up in UCD doing business and law. And I suppose, well, I started off in Leaving Cert. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. The subjects I liked, I suppose, were probably, I liked them all. English, probably history and business more so, and then chemistry as well. So I thought I probably picked a course to coincide with the English and history and business more so. So I saw business and law in UCD, and I just thought that would give a broad synopsis of them three, and thought it'd suit me. With regards to subjects you need, I don't think there's any point reading into that too much. Like, it's business and law, but to be honest, there's more accounting. It's more accountancy based, and I think that's the way with a lot of the business modules at college and university level. So, but I didn't do accountancy, and the accounting modules are fine. You get plenty of help, and it's very linear. So you start off at a basic level, and obviously I'm final year now, so you're doing the harder modules, but it's all an application of earlier knowledge. So it's very linear and progressive, and they're fine. Obviously you have to put the work in, but there's nothing insurmountable there in any of them. Business people, like, you don't have to do any business modules really to do it. I know plenty of people that didn't do any of them. And to be honest, in many respects, it's probably a benefit if you don't, because you go into it more of an open mind. Some of them are pretty wishy-washy, but they're all pretty interesting. I suppose the law side of it, then, that's what you're always going in blind, because there's no real subjects that can correspond with law apart from history. Really, history was a good help, because to be honest, when you're doing law, it's predominantly history. You're just learning about what has happened in the past, and it is very interesting. I like it a lot. When I went in, I probably thought I would opt more towards the business side of it, but to be honest, I much preferred the law. It's just very interesting. Again, you start off with your basic levels, just getting your formative knowledge. And UCD, the course it's run quite well. That's what I found. First and second year, you go in, it's all quite introductory. You do your introduction to accounting, introduction to your basic law modules, your contract law, constitutional law, and all that. You have maths for business, which just is pretty much a recap of Leaving Cert ordinary level maths, really. And then obviously as you progress on through the degree, it becomes progressively harder. You're expected to know a lot more. You're expected to draw on a wider range of material, that kind of thing. So the work does get harder. But again, it's all based on what you should know from what you've already done. So that's another thing about it that's just nice. You get to see how far you've improved as a student as well. Then the other things, I suppose when I started, obviously you're in Leaving Cert, you don't have too much time to be looking at courses. You obviously, it forms a big part of what you do, but you're concentrating more so on the Leaving Cert, I suppose. I didn't probably read into too much about what you actually got out of the course or what you got out of other courses. And just when I started, a lot of people probably asked me, what can you actually do? Is it just a lesser version of a law degree or a lesser version of a business degree? And that, like, it couldn't be further from the truth, to be honest. So what you do is pretty much for the first 3 years, you do a combination of 6 business and 6 law each year. So you get all, and it's a 4-year degree, whereas your ordinary commerce degree would be 3 years. So where they would do 2 modules per year, electives, where you're not really focused on anything that's core to commerce, we do 12 modules every year, fully focused on business and law. So over the course of the 4 years, you get the same exemptions, you get the same subjects as commerce and law. And then obviously once you get into 4th year, you should have a good idea what you want to do. So to be honest, this year I've done 8 law subjects and 4 business subjects. And then leading on from that, it's a very broad and general, but it still leaves you with all the options available to go in whatever direction you want when you leave college. So if you want to be an accountant in your final 2 years, you can choose all the modules you need to be an accountant and do your accountancy exams and get your accounting exemptions. Similarly, if you want to be a solicitor, you get them all anyway, I think, pretty much. Just the course, the modules you have to do in the course will qualify you to be a solicitor, obviously subject to having to do your solicitor's exams after. And with a barrister, to be a barrister, you can just choose the modules the same way in your final 2 years. So that was a huge benefit of it. Again, the business and law side of it, another benefit would probably be you get an enhanced commercial awareness. So I did a internship at the end of my 2nd year in a law firm up in Dublin, and it was a bit of so I went in, I don't know why, I applied, I don't know why, it was like the application's open in February, and I said, flip it, I'll just throw in an application, and I was lucky enough to get it, and I went in not really expecting much. Still hadn't really decided what route I wanted to go, the business or the law, but I loved it in there. To see the practical side of it was invaluable, really. It's so interesting from a practical perspective. And I was lucky enough to get a job there for when I finish as well. So it's another, when I started doing the course, I wasn't even aware that corporate law firms were a thing in Ireland. I genuinely didn't really know what you did with a law degree. I just thought you'd do it and then eventually end up being in court somewhere. But there is a clear path and there's a lot of routes open. So, for example, where I worked in A&L Goodbody, you could go into property law, contract law, there was various different departments that you could go into. Similarly, if you got to 3rd year and thought, I want to be an accountant, you could get your accounting exams, go into an accounting firm or a smaller practice and go into various levels of accounting. Also, you could do economics. It's just very broad and open, and it doesn't limit you in any way. So what I'd recommend is, if you're in any way not sure about how you want to go or where you want to go after Leaving Cert, it is good to go into a broad course, something that it'll give you practical skills, practical knowledge that you can apply in a wide range of workplaces. And that's what I'd say is the big benefit of business and law. And there's similar benefits in various other courses. Like arts degrees, you can get a great wide array of knowledge a wide array of knowledge and go into law firms the same way. Just it's all about making the most of where you are, and I think that's the big advantage of college. You can make of it what you want, really. You can go into business and law and not do anything and come out with an utterly useless degree. You could go into commerce or arts, work as hard as you want, and come out and still go into a law firm or an accounting firm or whatever you wanted to do. It's just, it all relates back to how much work you're willing to put in. And I think that's the good thing about lots of college courses. So yeah, I think that's probably
very good. Thank you.
should be it.
Anybody have any questions or anything? Just in relation to college, are you online completely, or are you up in college any days, just to tell the students how it's working this year in relation to COVID and that, to give them an idea of like?
Yeah, we're online completely, but I'm living up in Dublin, so I've been here for the 12 weeks now. So it's not too bad. I'm living with a few lads, so you still get a bit of the college experience. I know my sister now is in first year and she's a couple of hours a week, but it's tough on first years. Like, you know, when you don't know anyone, it's very hard to get off the ground. And that's the thing, you know, you'll be going into first year next year, hopefully it'll be a lot different, or I think the third and fifth years there as well. So I'd really recommend UCD. It's such a vibrant campus, and it's very diverse from an Irish perspective. There's people from everywhere. Lots of people, like, see, I live with someone from Monaghan, someone from Leitrim, someone from Galway, and I'm from Galway, obviously. So like, there was a lot of, I remember when I went up, a lot of people were saying, oh, it's going to be all Dublin, but that couldn't be further from the truth. And there are people from Dublin as well, but they're people too. So I think it's, you know, and you do become friendly with them. Yes. They're not aliens. So, and UCD as well, it's such a social hub. There's football, there's all kinds of sports. Like, I played Gaelic football in first year. Couldn't believe how good a way that was to meet people. Similarly, the nightclubs are obviously closed. The nightlife is very good. So I would say first years now aren't getting that advantage, but hopefully when you go back, it'll be back to some sort of.
Improved a little bit anyway. And any questions? I don't think there's any questions. There's no light flashing here. Again, if you don't mind, Cillian, we might email you with some questions.
Yeah, no problem.
If that's all right, if you don't mind. So overall, you, as I asked all the others, do you like the course? Do you love the course? Is there anything you might would have done differently if you were back again? Or
yeah, I love it, to be honest. Obviously, I love it as a whole. There are modules that I go into and look at the ceiling and wonder what I'm doing there, like, to be honest. But I think you'll have that in every course, and it's important to remember that. It's just important to find one that you like the idea of, or you like where it's going. And I think I do like the whole business and law thing. It gives a good mix of everything. I know like, a lot of the law modules are quite heavy, especially at this stage of the course. They're a lot of reading, a lot of writing. You know, I love then going and doing an accounting module just for a break even. I couldn't imagine doing 6 law modules now, to be honest. So that's another advantage of it. I like that. And obviously when I went on the internship, I really enjoyed that, the practical side of it. Even I was in the property department in the law firm, which would, I think, stereotypically be a very mundane type of work, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just see any practical side of it was very beneficial, and yeah, I do like it.
Like all the other speakers, though, if you were to give some advice to Leaving Certs, I know it's kind of come out there that to be prepared to work is definitely one of them, and I think the other one is to probably research the course. You know, you just said that there yourself, to try and find out as much information as possible, and ask questions to past pupils that are willing to answer those questions. You know, make use of everything that's there.
Yeah, obviously, I think that's all very Leaving Cert. You will have to work hard, but obviously, I think there's only so much research you can do as well. I probably researched a good bit, had a lot of meetings with you, but still was like very when I got into the course, it was only then that you realise, oh, I can go here, this is what I can do. And I thought you have to allow for a bit of that as well. You can't, I think, fair enough, if you want to be a vet and leaving cert, it's very linear, you're going to be a vet. But if you're going into a broad course, if you're going into a commerce, a business and law and arts and anything, a science, engineering even, you have to be aware that you're not going to know when you're 18 or 17 where you're going to be when you're 25. And there's no need to know. Like, I still don't really know where I want to be, and there's no harm in that. So you just have to accept that, I suppose.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cillian.
No bother.
And I think my carpenter sends his apologies. He's unable to, his internet access isn't going to allow him to speak. So I apologise to anybody who came on to listen to the carpenter. I will try. I'm hoping now, I think this was a great success, and thank you all to my wonderful past pupils who are always willing to help me out with these kind of things. I really, really do appreciate you giving up your time and putting so much effort into it, and, you know, having the information that these students need to get and that will help them in choosing their career paths and any courses that they're interested in. In the new year, I hope to have another set of past pupils from different sectors and different careers and jobs that they're in. And again, to the Leaving Certs and anybody else who's tuned in here, if you want more information or want to give me some ideas, just email me or talk to me and let me know any particular area that you'd be interested in me, and I'll try and get somebody to talk to you about it. So that's it for now. Again, past pupils, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, and I'm very, very grateful for your time and the wonderful informative speeches that you gave tonight, and talks and presentations. So that's it for now, and I will be in touch with you all, and thanks very much for all the people who got involved as well. Thank you so much. Okay, good night to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Jeannie, somebody has a question. Sorry, I missed. Oh, thank you. Okay, lovely.